We've learned all about how upsetting feelings are caused by sudden thoughts called poison thoughts. We learned about antidote thoughts, which we give ourselves to fight the poison thoughts. And by going into other people's minds to see how they try to solve their problems, we learn how to fix our own upsetting thoughts and feelings. We've learned all about the 5 kinds of poison thoughts. Black and white thinking. Predicting without proof. Searching for the bad, ignoring the good. Blaming. And rigid thinking. Now we're going to learn more about rigid thinking. Rigid means stubborn. Some kinds of stubborn are good. That kid said to smoke a cigarette. I don't do that. Some kinds of stubborn are not good. That boy wants to play tag a new way. No way! Rigid means not wanting change. It's normal to like some things to stay the same. I do enjoy takeout pizza with the family on Saturdays. Rigid could also be mean and selfish. That's why people should usually try to be flexible instead. What do you mean you want takeout Chinese instead? This is Saturday! Examples of rigid thinking. I can't stand this change. I need to get my way. There's just one way to do it. Antidote thoughts for rigid thinking. Change can be hard. Sometimes you have to deal with it. Other people deserve to have their way too. There's usually more than one way to do something. Rigid thinking. When your mind makes you demand that things go just the way you expect. We are going into the mind of James, a boy playing kickball in the backyard with some friends. Some of the kids want to try playing kickball with 5 bases instead of 3. James thinks, but that's against the rules. In what way is James's mind being stubborn? Do you agree with him? Can you think of any antidote thoughts that might help him? It's important to follow rules, but sometimes people take it too far. That is one way to be rigid. Can you think of some time when you yourself got too carried away with making other people follow certain rules? What were your poison thoughts at that time? What antidote thoughts did you need? In this video, you might need more time to think and remember. You can pause the video at any time. Now we're in the mind of Hillary. At her middle school graduation party, Hillary picked out the 80s music carefully. Megan brings in some other music and asks if she can play it later. Hillary says, excuse me, this is the music I planned. And she thinks, this is my party, and that's why we need to hear my music. It's only natural that people want to have their way. But if you try to have your way all the time, you can really annoy people and lose friends. Try to think of a time when your wanting to have things your way made you too bossy. What were your poison thoughts then? What antidote thoughts did you need? Now we are in the mind of Rita, a student at school. There are no assigned seats in Rita's school, but Rita sits in the same seat every day in homeroom. A new girl walks in and sits right in Rita's place. As Rita walks over to tell the girl to move, she thinks, "But that's my seat!" Many people have habits they don't like to change. But if you push other people around too much to make them deal with your habits, it's not fair and they can get angry with you. Try now to think about some part of your routine or schedule that you really hate to change. Does your habit affect other people in a bad way? If so, are there antidote thoughts that might help you to change? We are in the mind of Nolan. He and his family are getting ready for a party where they will have nice food and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers, Nolan's favorite football team, play on TV. For Nolan's Pittsburgh Steelers party, the icing on the cupcakes was supposed to be black and gold because those are the Steelers' colors. But the bakery made a mistake with the color of the icing. Nolan closed the cupcake box and he thought, "No one is going to eat these cupcakes." Think of some antidote thoughts that might help out Nolan. It can feel really awful to have a sudden bad surprise. To get better at dealing with unpleasant surprises like this, you have to learn how to answer poison thoughts with antidote thoughts. Think about a time where something happened to you that you were not expecting at all. What poison thoughts did you get? And what antidote thoughts did you need? We are in the mind of Sam, who is with his dad in the kitchen. Sam's dad asks Sam to help make Mom coffee and rolls in bed because it's Mother's Day. Sam refuses to help. He says, "But Sunday morning we have pancakes. Sunday is Pancake Day." In Sam's mind he keeps thinking, "Sunday is Pancake Day." What are some antidote thoughts that would help Sam at this time? When people think too much about doing things the same all the time, this can often hurt other people and cause others to not get what they want. Can you think of a time in your home when your thinking was a little bit like Sam's? At that time, what were your poison thoughts? And what antidote thoughts did you need? We're in the mind of Carolyn. She and her friend Liz are planning their next sleepover at Liz's house. Carolyn and Liz are best friends and they do sleepovers often. Liz has an idea. She wants to invite a third friend to the next sleepover. Carolyn feels herself getting very upset. She thinks, "No, that's not what we do for our sleepovers." Can you think of some antidote thoughts that might be helpful for Carolyn? Friendships are kind of fragile, and they need to be taken care of carefully. Being stubborn and bossy like Carolyn can damage a friendship. Think of a time that you had a disagreement with a friend. Try to think of a time when you were the one who was being too bossy. At that time, what were your poison thoughts? What antidote thoughts did you need? We're in the mind of a boy named Joey. Joey listens as the teacher talks about jobs that teenagers can get as their first jobs. He thinks, "No way. I'm going to be a video game designer, and that's that." Try to think of some antidote thoughts that might help Joey. When people are too rigid about what they expect will happen, they can end up very disappointed. Have there ever been times in your own life when your own mind was assuming that some good thing would just have to happen simply because you wanted it and expected it? What kind of poison thoughts did you have at that time? What antidote thoughts did you need? Now we are in the mind of Tyson, who was learning all about cleanup chores at camp. The camp grown-ups asked Tyson to help clean out the sinks in the bathroom. He says, "I hate this camp." And he thinks, "They make me do work that moms do." How should Tyson think differently? What should Tyson do differently? The word that is the opposite of rigid is flexible. Behaving in a flexible way means that you try to deal with changes in other people's ideas. Try to think of a way that your mind has become more flexible over time. We are in the mind of Noah. It is the first day of Hanukkah, and he's playing with a dreidel. Suddenly, he hears some kids singing the dreidel song, but they have changed all the words to the song, and they added a few words that are a little bit naughty. As he runs to tell the teacher, he thinks, "They can't mess with the dreidel song." Can you think of an antidote thought for Noah at this time? What should he say? What should he do? People like Noah who tattle usually feel like they know the rules and that they're doing the right thing, but tattling is often just another bad way of acting rigid. Often tattling is the right thing to do, but try now to think of a time when you tattled and it was not the right thing to do. What was your poison thought at the time? What antidote thought did you need? We're in the mind of Anya now. Anya is calling up a friend to invite her to see the latest Hobbit movie. The friend says that she doesn't want to see that movie. Anya ends the phone call. Anya thinks, "I'll keep calling people until I find someone who will see the movie that I want." What is the problem with what Anya is doing in her phone calls? If you were Anya's friend, what kind of advice would you give to her? Anya is being rigid about the way she invites people to go see a movie. She ought to be more flexible and allow other people to have some say in what movie they might go to see together. Tell about a time when your being too stubborn caused a friend to get upset with you. What was your poison thought at that time? And what antidote thoughts did you need?